All right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. My name is Alex Cordova. I'm the Deputy Director of the USDA Center for Faith. The USDA Center for Faith connects faith and community-based organizations with the resources at USDA and our programs and technical assistance so that those faith organizations can better serve families, congregations, and their communities. For the center, youth engagement is key and central to our work. We're excited to be here with you all today so that we can learn more about your interests and hope that something that you learned today can further your personal and professional goals. So today, we're going to have some leadership remarks. We'll have a great program panel about youth engagement opportunities at the department, and then we'll follow that up with a short break, and we'll do a tour of USDA and hopefully a stop by the USDA People's Garden out front. I want to express our many thanks to other USDA colleagues who are here that will be on the panel that helped us with the giveaways outside and helped us put on this event because we couldn't do it without you all. We do have those tables, you all can stop again if you all didn't get something. And in your folders, we have a bunch of different information. There's an agenda, there's biographies for all of the speakers, as well as some recipes that we've included there from the Food and Nutrition Service and some other items. I think I'd like to turn it over now to Dr. Alveda King. Dr. King is the keeper of the King family legacy. She's our senior advisor for faith and community outreach. Thank you, Dr. King.
Hi, everyone, and I'd like to give you just a bit of a background as to why you are here. I've been appointed by President Donald John Trump as the senior advisor to the Faith Center of the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. My boss is Secretary Brooke Rollins. Brooke really wanted to be here today. She really, really did. She's up on the Hill. She has to go to the Hill, and that's where the Senate and the House are and everything. And she has to answer so many questions. Now, one of the major things we were concerned about, kids, promise me you won't get mad when I tell you this. We have a program called SNAP. It was paused and it is unpaused. But you could get sodas and all this good candy and stuff on SNAP. I said, can we give them some collard greens instead? I told you didn't want to hear that. Oh my God. But there are delicious things that you can do for your health. That's not all that we do at USDA. And there are so many things that are encompassed. Smokey the Bear, for example, when I was a little girl, we talked about only you can prevent forest fires. And we had Smokey the Bear, for example. 4-H clubs, Job Corps. There's so many things that are involved. But I say you can't do it without faith. That doesn't mean you have to be the kind of Bible-carrying Christian I am. But you have to have faith and religious freedom, whatever you decide to believe in, whatever faith you have. You should have that right. So we put it all together over here at USDA. In a minute, I'll show you that too. Alex, are you at the computer? This is our website. This is our website, the Center for Faith. And if you want to know more about it, please visit us and see who we are and what we do. And we also have USDA. Let's go to the newsletter really quick. We also have a newsletter, and for any of you that want to sign up for that, I think if you get to the website, what we did last month was Mental Health Month. And in this country right now, there are a lot of concerns, and people are concerned about many things. And so we brought it to the attention of the nation with a little video, and we had some things that people in agriculture and farming have to deal with. So we are very interested. We're going to be dealing with the disaster question this month, actually. But everything is sometimes we do really fun and cheerful things as well. So we're going to hear from you. So I don't want to do all the talking, but I want you to do something that I'm known for. Because we can't all talk together, but we can all sing together. And because you're young people, there's a little song that I sing everywhere I go. And I want to ask you to sing that with me. Then I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. We have a panel. We'll ask the moderator to introduce himself. We'll ask the panel to introduce themselves. And then we want time to hear from you with your questions. And we're gonna, CCS, Frank is gonna come up next right after me. And because we were talking, he said, we got to do something with young folks. He said, I know many, many young folks. He said, I'll bring some to see you. And he kept his word. And that's how you got here. But let's do this song really quick. If you didn't learn it in elementary school or nursery, let's learn it now. It goes like this. This little light of mine, do you know it? I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Come on, children, sing. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Now remember, this is a verse from me. Take this home from you. Frank, come sing this one with me. Come on. Because we have to do this together. You are lights, and we're lights. If your light won't shine, I'll share some of mine. Oh, if your light won't shine, I'll share some of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now, before I give it to him, let's go over to my farm real quick. I have my own farm. Secretary Rollins is a farmer, and we do that. And on my farm, we grow things and we teach other people how to grow, and we're pollinators. So that's the butterflies especially, and we got a few hummingbirds and things like that. So I wanted you to know who I am, but I'm going to give it to my brother and let him tell you really why we're here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Give it up. Give it up. Well, it's an honor to be here. My boss as well, Secretary Brooke Rollins. She is amazing. She is so amazing on her, the way she moved, the way she walked, the way she talked, the way she leads by example. And I'm thankful to be here. So thank you, USDA, and everybody that had something to do with putting this together. I always enjoy having our youth, our next generation be here. But I want to share a little something with you about my life story. I want to inspire you before I leave here today. I don't want you to know me by that NFL player, that guy that broke records at Kansas State, 4.22, or accolades from presidents and awards and things of that nature. I want you to know me by a man that never gave up. Because everybody in this room going to have an opportunity to give up. The question is, will you give up? Will you throw in that white towel? Will you cave in? Will you give up? That's the question. And see, everybody always asks me, Frank, you go all over the place speaking. You went all over the place in the NFL playing these different teams. What's some of the most great and wealthiest places you've seen? Have you been to Dubai? And I said, yeah, it's cool. So the buildings went. I said, it was okay. Did you go to Iraq because of the oil, or Africa because of the beautiful diamonds? And I said, the most wealthiest place is not any of those. The most wealthiest place in your backyard is the graveyard. Because it was people like me, athletes, supposed to be speaking to the next generation, motivating the next generation, but they let their purpose go to the graveyard. There's people supposed to be doing things like Dr. King is doing right now, inspiring the next generation, but they let their purpose go to the graveyard. There's churches that supposed to be inspiring and walking out their light for real, but they let their purpose go to the graveyard. The reason why we're here today to make sure your purpose don't go to the graveyard. Because if your purpose go to the graveyard, you didn't just cheat yourself, you cheated the next generation. And see, before I share a couple of things with you to inspire you, I want to make sure you empty the cup. Because a lot of times your cup full of speculations, bad experiences, things of that nature. In order for me to get the light of truth and some wisdom in your cup, you got to empty it today. Because this is an opportunity that you got to take advantage of. It's not like, oh, here we go again. No, it's an opportunity that can change your life and save your life. And you guys, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is putting down that fake ID. Everybody know what a fake ID is. A picture of you, but everything on there a lie. And you have to put that fake ID down if you want to be successful. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to put down the fake ID and pick up the real ID. I didn't pick up the real ID at first. I picked up the fake ID, and I found myself incarcerated at the age of 15, facing 10 to 15 years. And see, I'm telling you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that if God do it for me, if he did it for me, he'll do it for you too. And when I got out of jail, I never forget, I went to trial and I won trial and got a second chance. And I went back to school, won All-American, runner-up Mr. Florida, MVP player of the year, and I didn't have the grades, so I had to go to junior college. So I went to junior college in Mississippi, and something called residue followed me. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a life coach. I didn't have nobody to inspire me. All I had was the streets. And if you understand the streets will send you home to your parents in a body bag or in prison. And that's why we're here to encourage you on a whole nother level. Because you got to take advantage of these opportunities ahead of you. And when I got out, you guys, I went back to school, went to junior college, didn't have the grades, and I messed up again. I messed up again. Began to get involved in selling drugs and carrying firearms, hanging around the wrong crowd, and they kicked me out. They called my mom and say, this kid is athletic, but he got to go. He got to go. My mom said, if you send him home, she started crying. If you send him home, he'll be dead or in prison. Can you please find another college for him? They found me another college in Garden City, Kansas. I got there, the first thing I was saying, I can't get in trouble. I can't make mistakes. But I didn't know how, you guys. And that residue followed me again. I found myself incarcerated, facing 15 years again. And as I stood in that shower in that prison cell, I started to cry and say, God, you know, it's something wrong with me and I need your help. I need mentors. I need somebody that believe in me, believe in my dream. I don't know what I'm doing right now. And as I cried in the shower because the water hit my face, you couldn't see the tears, I felt like something was going to change. And when I got out, you guys, I got bonded out and I went to the office of the president and the coaches. They said, you'll never touch this football field again. But we can't kick you out, so why don't you get your education? We can't kick you out because you haven't been found guilty. I went to trial, you guys. Nobody would talk to me. Nobody would speak to me. Nobody would say a word. The coaches would turn their back on me when I tried to shake their hand. They wouldn't let me use the weight room. So I would go straight to the dorms, straight to class. Straight to my dorm, straight to class. This one little route I would walk all day. Then my life changed one day, you guys. I heard a voice say, hey, young man. I said, who's talking to me? Because nobody really talks to me. It was the janitor. The janitor said, I don't know who you are, but you walk this way every day. I see a light behind you, and I just want to tell you, God told me to tell you you're going to change the world. I started to laugh. I say, lady, if you knew who I was, you probably wouldn't be talking to me right now. She said, I don't care who you are. I'm just telling you what God told me to tell you. You walk this way all the time. There's a light behind you, and God told me to tell you you're going to change the world. She said, will you do something for me? I say, what is it? She said, will you go to church with me? I say, man, my mama talk like that. I ain't with all that right now. I'm going through a lot. I got trial coming up. It don't look good. She said, that's the time you need to run to God, not from him. She took me to church, you guys, and that janitor mentored me. It wasn't a coach. It wasn't some high-powered player. It was a janitor that mentored me. Don't you ever go through life and look down on titles, because you never know where your blessings come in at. That janitor mentored me, and I ended up going back to that college after I won my second trial. That was my second trial that God seen me through. And I went back to school, and that same college that told me they didn't want nothing to do with me, I took them to the national championship. I won the Heisman Trophy of junior college. I was inducted to the Junior College Hall of Fame. Number one recruit in the nation, all in 1 year. And see, it's going to be people tell you that you need to give up on your dreams. There's going to be people going to tell you that you can't do it. And I'm here to tell you, I do this all the time. I want you to use the mirror drill. The mirror drill is a place that you get in front of and you encourage yourself. And sometimes you're going to have to encourage yourself and not depend on nobody else. And I went in front of that mirror drill when I came home for the draft, because the NFL scouts say that we don't think we can draft you because of your record. All 32 teams were standing there when they told me that. And I got home, my mama said, you ready for the draft? I said, Mom, they don't really like me like that. She said, what God got for you, no man can take it away. And I began to get in that mirror and I talked to myself. I said, I will get drafted. I will not give up. I will keep going. And I got drafted into the NFL, you guys. So I want to tell you, use that mirror drill, because the mirror drill ain't just to reflect what you see, it's to correct what you see as well. The mirror is not just to reflect what you see, it's to correct what you see, which means you're going to have to do some work on yourself to be successful. The last thing I'll talk about is positioning yourself for success. I had to position myself for success. Anybody know Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play? Anybody know Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL? Peyton Manning called me one day and said, Frank, meet me down here. I want you to catch with me. I say, sure, man. I got down there, it was him and Tom Brady. I say, two of the best quarterbacks to ever play. But I noticed something about Peyton Manning, you guys. He said, I want you in that position right there, and I'll get you the ball every time, on time. Don't be to the left, don't be to the right, but be in that position, and you'll get the ball perfect every time. You guys, every time I was in position, Peyton Manning on the money. Every time I was look to the left, it would drop, or I would drop it, or it would go a little bit to the left when I was to the right. And you say, Frank, why do you say this? Because if you're not in the right position for success, you're going to miss your blessing. And a lot of times we wonder why we're not successful is because we're out of position. And I was out of position several times, and that's why my fake ID kept taking control of my life. But now I'm walking with my real ID. That's a picture of me, and everything on there is true. And I encourage you to pick up your real ID today when you leave here. I encourage you to be in the right position for success. And understand that the mirror is not just to reflect what you see, it's to correct what you see. And you can correct what you see today. See, potential is everything you can be, but you haven't became yet. Potential is all you can do, but you haven't did yet. Potential is how far you can go, but you haven't went yet. See, potential is just potential till you do something. When you do something, you'll be something. And when you'll be something, you'll have something. This is your opportunity today when you leave here to take in everything that'll be said to inspire your life, because you deserve this second chance and third chance and fourth chance. I want to make sure that at the end of the day, when you get done hearing from these speakers, that you're empowered, that you're encouraged, that you know that you here on a purpose, by a purpose. And I know some people may say, I own my mom, and she ain't do me right, my dad ain't there, and all this stuff right here. You may have all those things to say, but I want to tell you, it don't matter who you come through, it matters who you come from. It don't matter who you come through, it matters who you come from. And if you know who you come from, you always got an opportunity to win. They told me I wouldn't even be alive at 13, you guys. I'm a PAL kid. I'm a PAL kid. I'll say it again, I'm a PAL kid, and I'm proud of it. They told me I wouldn't be alive at the age of 13 from the culture and the background, the city that I'm from. I am. They said he wouldn't even go through high school. This kid ain't going through high school. Guess what? I did. They say, who? Frank Murphy go to college? Who? That guy Frank? Nah. Guess what? I did. They say, Frank Murphy write a book? Nah, not just one book, but 2 books. I did. They say, Frank Murphy trying to write a movie? Who? The Frank Murphy that get in trouble all the time? Incarcerated all the time? Yeah, I did. Wrote a movie. What statement will you make where you can say I did after it? What statement will you leave here and you say I did when they told you you can't? This is your opportunity, your time, and you can and you will and you must be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Frank Murphy. Thank you. Chief of Staff Richard Schroeder. Chief of Staff Richard Schroeder. He's coming up next. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. Murphy. Appreciate it. Now we're going to jump into our panel. So I'd like to invite Dr. Mike Williams to come up. Mike Williams, he's the Educational Initiatives National Program Manager for the USDA Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement.
We got to give Mr. Murphy, we got to give him a little better hand.
Thank you.
We just got to be honest about it. Here's the thing. I work in education, and people always talk about where they're at, the level of the platform, but not many people will talk about how they got there, and that's so important, understanding the journey. So I got to tell you, I was inspired. I'm absolutely appreciative. I want you all to think about that, particularly as you hear from some of the panelists today, and think about the opportunity you have to be in the room, hear about their stories. Because we're not asking you to come in and be the top to run the show. We're just asking you to take a step, get a start. And I think hearing from some individuals who have done some great things will give you that opportunity. So the first individual that I'm going to introduce today is the director of the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture. He's Dr. Jay Hamby. And he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and how he's got to this position and inspire you in his own way. So Dr. Hampson.
Say a few remarks right now?
Yeah, say
all right. Well, folks, first of all, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Okay, have you had a good day thus far?
Yes.
All right, excellent. White House visit included? For some, maybe? Okay. Well, again, as noted, my name is Jay Hamby. I hail from southeast Tennessee, down in the mountain country, where I grew up. A lot of whitewater rafting, some river bottom farms, and a fair measure of beef cattle dairy production. Back in my time, tobacco as well. But I'll tell you what, it's not what you think about in terms of big traditional ag. That notwithstanding, again, really privileged to grow up on that small cow-calf operation. And like so many young people, though, growing up in rural America, I struggled finding my way, finding my own purpose. I was a first-generation college kid, went to the University of Tennessee. There were about 90 in my graduating class, and in the 4 preceding me, only myself and one other went to the University of Tennessee straight out of my home county. And again, it really opened my eyes to a wide new world, if you will. What led me to that path, though, was first of all 4-H. I had the opportunity as a 4th grader to participate in the public speaking contest. I got my first livestock project as that 4th grader too, and began showing sheep, which took me on a path in livestock production, one that I continue on in some measure, in some fashion today. I really enjoyed my formative years in 4-H. Later on, continued that growth and that professional journey, if you will, and cultural journey in 4-H. That also dovetailed into the National FFA organization. In so many ways, those organizations are complementary and contribute to one another so very well. It was through those 2 organizations that I found a fair measure of my talent in life, and again, it led me to the University of Tennessee. From there, at the very tail end of my university experience, I was selected as a Harry S. Truman Scholar, which is designed for those considering and embarking upon careers in the public sector. And so, again, majored in agricultural education for my undergraduate degree, did the same at Oklahoma State University. Now, what is unique about my journey, unlike so many other Truman Scholars, is that I didn't initially get into that realm. I've worked in the private sector for the bulk of my career. And only since this past March have I returned into the public sector as director of the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. In so many regards, though, it's full circle for me. Because when I was a freshman in high school, actually just after my freshman year in high school, I had the chance to work for the Youth Conservation Corps. It's a part of USDA's Forest Service. The genesis of the YCCA goes all the way back to Depression era times with the Civilian Conservation Corps. Young men in search of jobs, in search of employment, when so many of our population was out of work, it was part of the New Deal. They had the opportunity to work for the Forest Service. They essentially lived in camps. They planted, during the roughly 9-10 year period that the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, existed, they planted 3 billion trees in the United States.
Wow.
Beyond that, many of the national parks and national forests that we enjoy today were made possible by the work efforts of those young men. And in 1971, the Youth Conservation Corps was established to carry on that legacy, but beginning with people just like you. So I'd encourage you to take a look at some of those kinds of opportunities. So again, full circle for me, again, my first real job comes back today, and now again, working for USDA as director of the Institute for the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. So what does NIFA do? 4-H is under our charge, or what I would frame as the strategic headwaters of 4-H. We partner with state extension to execute that program. Beyond that, mention extension, we again have those stakeholders, those partners in extension that we work with to conduct research, outreach programs, and the like within our communities, whether that's in urban environments or all the way to rural America, just like where I was raised. We also fund a tremendous amount of research, how to better produce food and fiber, how to, and Dr. King, you mentioned, again, got to worry about a little bit some of those foods that are very, very tempting, but maybe not good and wholesome for us. We fund a lot of research to bring those wholesome foods to tables across the United States of America. So again, I've had an interesting journey working with so many young people through the totality of my career in 4-H and FFA, being a 4-H and FFA member myself. And so a couple of pieces of I guess maybe nuggets that I've learned along the way, I'll call them my own personal maxims. My first one is find your talent. Find your talent. A lot of times in life, we're told to determine what we're passionate about and pursue that wholeheartedly. One of the things I learned as a young person is what there is a little bit of difference. So the things sometimes that we are passionate about, we may not necessarily have a great talent for. My counsel to you is to find what you are good at. Find those things where you have a native talent, and the passion will then follow. Take this time to explore so many things of interest to you and determine what it is that you're really good at, and then the passion for it will typically follow. The second thing I want to leave you with here today is the things in life that count most are those things that cannot be counted. That quote has been attributed to many people over the fullness of time, including Albert Einstein, if you can imagine that. The great scientist who was a really good mathematician, right? But yet he drops this quote of the things in life that count most are those things that cannot be counted. So what do I mean by that? Well, looking around this room today, I see in your eyes a lot of kindred spirits. You follow what I'm saying? The connectivity that we have with one another, the fellowship, the friendships, the relationships we have in our communities. Those are things that you can't count numerically, but they are the things that count most in life. So what I would encourage you to do today is lever opportunities like this one. Meet new friends, establish new relationships, and carry those things forward with you over the course of your life. Because as I reflect upon mine, it's those networks that I've built, whether in the professional sense or the personal world, that mean the most to me. Again, the things in life that count most are those things that cannot be counted. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dr. Hamby. I got to tell you, you're associated with excellence, and excellence you will become. The next individual I'm going to introduce is our amazing Chief of Staff for Research, Education, and Economics. Very big title because he has a big job, big responsibilities. And I see he's just real quickly showing someone where to get to the restroom. But I'm gonna give him a hand. Why don't you help me introduce Mr. Ricky Shoulder?
All right, Dr. Mike. All right.
Dr. Mike. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all today. My name is Ricky Schroeder, and as Dr. Mike said, I serve as the Chief of Staff for the Research, Education, and Economics Mission Area here at USDA, and then I'm also wearing a couple other hats, including a Senior Advisor to the Secretary for Immigration and Labor, and then helping out in the Deputy Secretary's office as well. So I've been at USDA now for about 4.5 months, or 4 months now. But prior to that, I spent 7.5 years working for Congress on Capitol Hill. I was working for the House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture, where I got to work on the Farm Bill and other agricultural policy that helps shape our farms and ranches across the country, as well as our research and education programs and a variety of other things that are in there as well. So a little about me: I grew up on a small wheat and cattle farm in north central Oklahoma. As a farm kid, I actively was involved in 4-H. At 9 years old, I became the third generation of 4-H'er in my family. My grandma was involved, my dad was involved, and then me and my sister got to be actively involved in 4-H and love to see green shirts in the clover as much as possible, and as well as the FFA program. And I think you heard a little bit about the importance of FFA and the great work that they do from Dr. Hamby. So I, in 4-H, did everything from the local level at kind of holding a state or a county and local president level, all the way up to the state 4-H president, and even got to attend several conferences at the national level including what brought me here to Washington, D.C. for the first time ever, right? A small farm kid. I graduated with 16 other people in my high school class, a very, very small school, very rural area of Oklahoma. Getting to come to Washington, D.C. for the first time and see the nation's capital, see our government in action. Really just through 4-H led me here, and I fell in love with the city, fell in love with policy, fell in love with public service. And as soon as I could, I wanted to make my way back out here for an internship and was able to work with the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture. Every state has a member that's affiliated with that association, and they were the voice really up here advocating for the programs that our state departments of agriculture utilize to carry out their programming to support the farmers and ranchers in their state. Enjoyed that so much that I decided to up and move across the country as soon as I graduated from Oklahoma State University. A great theme here with Dr. Hamby having some master's and a doctorate from Oklahoma State, so it's a great school, big plug there. But as soon as I graduated, moved up here without a job, and the connections that I had made over time through 4-H, through FFA, through Oklahoma State University, through my internship at NASDA, those connections that I had made really led me to be well connected in a city halfway across the country, from the small farm that I was on up to here in Washington, D.C. So that's how I landed a job working for the Committee on Agriculture, starting out as staff assistant, answering the phones, helping sort mail, doing whatever the staff on the committee needed, working my way up to that professional staff level. And then coming here and getting to work with the great staff, Dr. Mike, Dr. King, Dr. Hamby. We have a great team here at USDA that are very passionate about youth education and making sure that youth have the opportunities to pursue their goals and opportunities and dreams, like a small town kid in Oklahoma being able to come up here and hold a high level position at USDA and help advise the Secretary on a variety of issues, including 4-H and FFA, which falls under the mission area that I now get to help lead as Chief of Staff. So I think if I have to give advice, it's make those connections, as Dr. Hamby was saying, the connections you meet today in this room, stay in touch with them, because you never know where that is going to lead you. You never know who is going to be having a job opening that could help lead and launch your career in ag policy or whatever job that you want to go into. And so really establishing those connections, being involved in organizations like you are today, and making sure that they can help you and guide you and shape you and give you the leadership and life skills needed to kind of go out and make a difference, to hold jobs in public service. I don't think there's any career more important than public service and kind of helping shape the programs and policies that impact, especially at USDA, programs impact every single person. If you eat, you're impacted by the Department of Agriculture. And so that public service is something that I'm very passionate about, and without my experiences in 4-H, I would not have been here today. And so I think it's just a great testament to hear directly from Dr. Hamby and his role and experiences in FFA and 4-H and the other speakers that you're going to hear about from today as well. And the opportunities just are incredible opportunities. So I really appreciate Dr. King and her team for putting this on today, and appreciate the opportunity to get to address y'all.
I am noticing a trend, a thread in all the things that the speakers were talking about. Started Mr. Murphy, talking about meet people, but also value the individuals that you meet. The speakers are all talking about that. And then also something Ms. Schroeder just said, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Really important, a statement. In the meeting, people, it's great, to hear that, that to be said to young people. I met young leaders as I came in today. The first I'm going to, bring up, a young leader, just met her, earlier, and the same thing, just getting to know, one another. So the first of the young leaders is Tiavana Fuller. And her title, let me read it correctly, is the Student Engagement Director at the National Association of Resource Conservation and Development Councils. Tiavana, why don't you come on up?
Hey y'all. As you've heard, I'm a student and community engagement director, so I first just want to ask, how are you guys doing? Are you excited to be here today? Yes. Awesome. I am Tiamani Fuller. I'm the student engagement director at NARCDC, or as you heard, the National Association of Resource Conservation and Development Councils. We are proud partners of USDA and NRCS. Without their help, we wouldn't have been able to put on so many impactful and wonderful programs. So I just appreciate and am honored to be here today. To give you guys a little bit of my backstory, I think I have a little bit of a unique pathway as to how I got where I am today. Growing up, I was born in Huntsville, Alabama, but raised in Buffalo, New York. I spent half of my lifetime there cheering and doing pageants, and everything was going good. I was happy and enjoying my time up there until my parents divorced. And so when they divorced, I ended up moving back to Huntsville, Alabama, and I was a little lost. I didn't really know, how to navigate such a big change in middle school, and I didn't really know, all of these new friends. I saw my childhood best friends still together, still, making memories, and so I felt a little lonely, and I just felt a little confused. And so that journey kind of got me off of track with my education. I was unmotivated. I just felt in a hole. And so I remember my father always telling me, you can either get it together and work hard in school or end up in a factory like me. And at the time I was just like, okay, I know, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go or what I want to do. But it was when I was in high school and I was a senior, I had no idea, y'all, where I wanted to go to college, what I wanted to study. I really just still was lost and just taking it day by day. And it was actually a college representative came to our school campus, and they were like, have you thought about applying to this university or what you want to major in? And I was like, I have no idea. So they talked to me, they threw something out there, and I was like, okay, I guess broadcast journalism sounds cool. I'll try that out. I trusted the process. I literally applied to college on the last day of applications. I got in, I applied to one college, and I got to my university. I started studying, and I wasn't sure what I actually wanted to do. I was like, okay, I'm learning journalism, I'm studying, I haven't chosen a minor yet. And it was one of my college professors that actually inspired me to go into public relations. She had a very successful and full career doing that. I wasn't quite sure what all that entailed or what that would mean for me, but I decided, let's just trust the process again. And so I started studying that, and I was checking because, okay, senior year's coming up, I'm in college. Internships, where am I going to intern? I was looking at career services and I saw a paid internship for a place called RC&D. I wasn't really sure what all that entailed, but I was like, it's paid and that's rare, so I'm gonna apply and just see what happens. Luckily, I got called for an interview, and that's where I met my current boss, Miss Anna Cornelius, and she took a chance on me. She knew that I hadn't, really decided what path I wanted to go into, but she believed in me and gave me the opportunity. And so I started interning there, and that's when doors that I never imagined opening started opening up for me, and I started entering rooms that I could have only dreamed of. I started working with state legislators and representatives, doing press releases, the whole 9 yards, really getting into the nitty-gritty of what my education was based on. And it was there that I realized I've trusted the whole process. I've trusted the process the whole way. I never had a full plan. I never had a real idea. But one thing I always did was remain true to myself and show up for myself. If I wouldn't have shown up for myself, like my father always said, I could have ended up in that factory like him. And that was one of my biggest motivators, was making my parents proud and doing better for them. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, my dad was blue collar, and I knew that my little sister was looking up to me, and I had 5 years to get it together. And so I did that, and I ended up landing this awesome opportunity to be student engagement director for the National Association upon my graduation in December of 2022. And they just believed in me, motivated me, and pushed me so far, further than I could have ever gone. But it literally was all based on somebody taking a chance on me and me making sure that I showed up for myself and for the people that gave me the opportunity. And so I won't make this long, but I just want to leave you guys with, always show up for yourself, always remain true to yourself. That was something that I really realized working in the elements that I was working in. I have to remain true to myself and always believe in myself. There's going to be times where, you could be uncomfortable, you could feel unprepared. I always talk about imposter syndrome. I'm currently studying to get my master's at Troy, And I just did a research project on imposter syndrome and how that has impacted me and just my journey. And so that's why I just want to tell you guys to believe in yourself, and you wouldn't be in rooms or given opportunities if you weren't capable. And so that's just what I want to leave you guys with. And I'll pass it back.
That's beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
I love that. Show up. Don't just get there. You know, when you're there, show up and show them who you are. I love that. Now it's so funny. I met Giovanni, and then she introduced me to Cameron. And the funny part, she introduced me to Cameron Rice, and they're both from Alabama. I was like, oh, did you all grow up together? And she's like, oh no, he's 5 years old. I was like, oh, he's almost dead. I mean, oh my God. So I want you to introduce a new friend of mine, Cameron Rice. He is the Youth Ambassador Program Director at the National Association of Resource Conservation and Development Council. Come on up.
Yes, I'm officially UNC, basically, is what I got today. Man, it's nice to meet y'all. So, one, really inspired by your story and can relate in a lot of different ways. I kind of want to share kind of my journey and why I'm really where I am now and leading our Youth Ambassador Program. Thank y'all so much for y'all's partnership with us. But originally from Huntsville, Alabama, went there, and at a young age, my mom pretty much told me, really going into high school, hey, I don't know how you're going to go to school. We're broke. I can't afford it. And we I know one of you mentioned earlier just using your gift. Well, I kind of found out I had a little bit of speed. And so I think it was Dr. Hamby. So I started running, run into the grocery store, run into school sometimes. I did get chased by a couple pit bulls, got bit a couple times on my way. So I do have a fear of big dogs right now. But through that journey, ended up going to Troy University, getting a track scholarship. And that was what my goal was. I just wanted to go to school. I was paid for, praise God. So my mom was very happy because I did end up going to school for free. And through that process, I ended up pretty much kind of what you were kind of relating to is this is the dream, right? It's going to college, it's running in athletics. And around my sophomore year of college, we went to this thing, my team, it was called NCAA Regional. So it's kind of like the Final Four for track. So 4x1, so when I saw that baton, that's why I was laughing. I was one of the legs on our 4x1. Got to that, I would say it's kind of like the top of the mountaintop for track. And I think sometimes in life we're faced with decisions. At that time, this was kind of the pinnacle, I would say, of my life during that time. And I had a decision to make. You may hear these stories in movies where they talk about athletes we have it made and we can take shortcuts. And so there became a time where I made a mistake that literally cost me everything that I had worked for up until that point. No, I didn't shoot anybody or do anything crazy, but I ended up making a decision on a test where I pretty much took a shortcut. And that cost me everything that I had worked for. Lost my scholarship, couldn't be seen with my team, couldn't practice with them for an entire year. It's oh, no, it's over. I remember calling my mom, knowing that she was probably going to kill me because it's you've worked so hard for this one moment. So luckily through that season, I actually ended up developing a relationship with Christ, actually finding the Lord it was a dark season. I was by myself, couldn't see my teammates, couldn't be around them. My coach was hey, we're going to give you a chance, but basically you're on probation for a year. And through that process, I ended up meeting in that same year who ended up being, I would say, one of the reasons why I'm even standing in this room today. I ended up meeting the mayor of Troy, which is where I went to school. Met him at an event. Basically, he was the main speaker. And so one of my challenges is to you. We've probably heard us all talk about just relationships and people that we've met. I walked up to this dude after he got off stage, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My teammates were I was man, I want to go just talk to him and see if he would mentor me. They was there's no shot. He's a mayor. He's not going to have time for you. So I just walked up to him. I was hey, the worst thing he can tell me is no. And I walked up to him and was hey, my name's Cameron. I was on the track team. Right now I'm which is embarrassing, but I was honest about where I was in life at that time. He's sure. Gave me his number. We went to lunch. Ended up becoming one of my biggest mentors, still one of my biggest mentors. Went to lunch for the next 2 years, once a month. Taught me pretty much a bunch of stuff about development. I didn't really say what I used to do, but I was in economic development. So a smart way, a simple way to say that is I was responsible for recruiting places like Target, Publix, TJ Maxx, and to my city that I was in, which was in Troy at that time. So I met him for 2 years. And after the 2 years I was about to graduate, I did end up getting back on the track team, praise God. So I got my scholarship back. We ended up going close to almost winning the national championship as a 4x1 team. So that was my journey back. But the thing that I would tell you, really, if I had to leave you with one thing, is how you do anything is how you do everything. And what I learned in that season for me was, if I take a shortcut here in this one part of my life, I'm going to take a shortcut somewhere else. And so when I learned in that season was that I'm not going to take shortcuts. I'm going to, regardless of how long the path is, I tell people all the time, you should take the stairs. Sometimes, yeah, you can take the elevator to get to the top, but sometimes the journey is what helps you get to where you need to become and who you need to become. And so from that one time, that one conversation, so you've heard us talk about networking, that one relationship has put me in rooms with the president before. It's also allowed us that we ended up going on to doing about $600 million in economic development in just recruiting businesses, industries, jobs to our city. And I say that because you never know what's on the other side of somebody else's yes, or what him saying, yes, I want to mentor you, I want to teach. And I learned a lot of that, and that's kind of what led me to where I am today in the sense of working with. Now I've learned so much through development to where now I have a financial consulting business. I'm working with professional athletes, helping them with finances. But in that job, I end up meeting millionaires, a couple billionaires, learning how to do finance, how to also just how they built their wealth and how they kept it. So me making that decision in the darkest season of my life, understanding that I need to meet somebody, have a mentor, has outwardly led me to today, to where now inside of our youth ambassador program, when I was asked to help mentor the next generation, it was an easy yes for me, because I knew somebody took a chance on me. And now, because of the mistakes that I've made, or things, or hurdles that I had to jump over, now I'm trying to keep the next generation from not having to take the same steps, so we can make the path easier for you. So you heard us all say, have a mentor, have a person. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of mistakes in that process. And so we're fortunate, because I don't have I know everybody up here has a little bit more of an agricultural background. Personally, in my role, I do not have it, but I did learn a lot about agriculture, how important, we don't really talk about soil and how important that stuff is. I've had $20-30 million deals, it's crazy, fall through because the soil was bad somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, no, come on. I'm like, I actually just had one fall through 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing I can do. I can't go I would have to go find some new dirt, but it's not, you think it's like, oh, it's not that expensive. No, it's millions of dollars to bring in new soil that somebody could build a building on. And so your interest in conservation and agriculture, it's important. It's very important, because in order for me to do my job, now I'm having to learn more about agriculture, soil, just to be able to do projects in my line of work that I'm in now. So my encouragement to you is, hey, don't take any shortcuts. Make sure that you guys have the right mentors and the right people in place, and ask them questions. I promise you, I can speak for me. There's never not enough questions for me just to ask if you want to learn more about whatever role you're trying to be in or what place you're trying to be in life. I'm going to continue, because somebody poured into me, I want to continue to pass the baton on to you. So that's my 2 cents.
Wow.